Welcome to the Monster Report, a show highlighting those entertaining creatures of film history. Nick Adam Poling, your host here, and today we're going to update an older episode that I had on Laserdisc movies, mainly because I've collected so many new Laserdiscs, I want to show off some of the new ones. Let's start with some Universal classics. Check out my Universal Monster Review show. So, we've got Frankenstein here, a little different than, actually a lot different than the version on VHS, just because of the cover art. And of course, Laserdiscs have chapters, kind of like DVDs of their time, but not as advanced. And if you know Laserdiscs, they are two-sided, of course. So you usually have to flip them over. So some neat artwork on the back there, some still photos from the set. Boris Karloff again in The Mummy. Very different than the VHS release of that, because the VHS release, at least that I have, is just a picture of Boris Karloff's face as Ardeth Bay. And this one you get a little bit more to look at there, Encore edition there. Very cool cover art. Something on the still from the publicity photos on the back, some other information about it. This was a interesting box set for The Invisible Man. We've got all of the sequels to The Invisible Man, but we don't have the original Invisible Man with Claude Rains. We have all of the sequels that came after it, but this is a neat box set that has all the other 4 movies in the Invisible Man series. So this is not the classic Universal series. This is actually a Fox movie of Young Frankenstein, and you might say it's not necessarily a monster movie. It is. It's a comedy, though. And it's probably one of the best comedies of all time, so I wanted to include it in on this list. Just really great seeing Gene Wilder, play Dr. Frankenstein, not Frankenstein. But what's also cool about this one is you've got publicity stills here that are in color, and this film is in black and white. Of course, it was purposely made to be in black and white to give it that nostalgic look, like it was a classic monster film. So you actually get to see, what the actor Peter Boyle looks like. And I'll get a closer image there to everyone on the set. He's kind of got a bluish-green face to him. And so there's your stills from the back of Young Frankenstein. Switch over to some Ray Harryhausen here, Valley of Gwangi. I've always liked this film. It's kind of rare on DVD, believe it or not. I think there's probably some copies still out there. This is kind of a strange looking Laserdisc in the way it's kind of laid out here with a starburst background. Got some color stills. Also check out these other great monster films from Ray Harryhausen. Anyways, well, this one's not Ray Harryhausen, I believe, When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth, but Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is in there, his first solo effort in special effects. Got our chapters there. Great movie if you like dinosaurs, and if you don't like dinosaurs and you like cowboys, it's got them both. So there's something for everyone in this film. Another couple of Ray Harryhausen classics. It Came from Beneath the Sea and 20 Million Miles to Earth. These films have recently been remade in color, and those are on DVD and Blu-ray for you to check out sometime. We've got them too, and they look great in color and in black and white, so check these out. This is a great little box set, double feature is the way to say it, and we've got chapter markers on both, and some cool little publicity stills in there as well. Ray Harryhausen was the master of that stop-motion technique used in King Kong, Son of Kong. Speaking of King Kong, we've got the Criterion collection of King Kong here, and this one is unique in that, being the Criterion collection, it has one of the rare commentary tracks right here by Ronald Haver, and it's very good to listen to. It's, again, very rare for Laserdisc. They weren't really doing this too much in the Laserdisc era. Now, of course, with DVD and Blu-ray, we have a lot of directors' commentaries and other producers, writers, film historian commentaries. This is more of a film historian commentary, and so really cool to check that out. You got your chapter markers, and it's two-sided, of course. The commentary is not, completely throughout. There's a lot of places where he is not speaking, unlike some of the commentaries we're kind of used to now where they're non-stop speaking to you. So this one sometimes takes a little break to watch the film, and then he'll come back and tell you a little bit more about it. And I've actually converted the commentary track on this over to DVD so I can watch it whenever I want. King Kong, different cover art here. The 60th anniversary of this film in 1993 from its 1933 original. Got some different publicity stills there to check out, and then your chapter markers. Let's switch things over to Japan. Some Gamera films. Gamera vs. Gauss and Gamera vs. Zigra. This is, of course, the VHS box art just superimposed over, copied over to this Laserdisc here. And there are 2 discs in there, and so you can check them out. And of course, when you are awkwardly switching out discs and flipping them over just to get to the next film, you know, it just makes it a little strange, especially if you're used to DVDs. And these are, of course, the dubs that are pretty much the exact same as we had. They are the exact same dub as we had in the VHS copies that were out there, that Sandy Frank presentation that we have. There's your original black and white Gamera, depicted in color even though it's in black and white. And then we have Gamera vs. Giron there. And so these were, of course, eBay grabs. eBay, where everything good comes from if it's collectibles. Sometimes you pay a little too much, but again, your background there. Not really a fan of that pink background that for whatever reason this monster flick got, but there's some Laserdiscs for the collection. Switch things over to Godzilla and Toho Monsters. There's your original. This is pretty much a copy. This, like I said, this is pretty much a copy of the VHS box art, but if you look at the VHS box art, since it's squared off or rectangled off a little bit more, you don't get as much of the artwork that you have all the people running down there. But it's very cool to see it depicted much larger. There's Raymond Burr down there smoking a pipe, and there's your one publicity still, and all these Paramount releases have the same pretty much background to them. The Vestron VHS that I also have, they made their own Laserdisc copy, so nothing new there. I remember the Vestron VHS, the publicity still in the back, I think had a image of Godzilla from, I believe it was Godzilla vs. Megalon, so very different. Just had it in stock and said, why not? Next film we've got is the Paramount release of Rodan. And just like the VHS box art, like before, Paramount release. A little bit more happening on the edges there, and you can really see the monster and the train wrecks and all that. And Kenji Sahara down there just running away and scared. I like the color little publicity still there. Rodan for some reason depicted red. This one was a pickup from G-Fest, which a lot of times you'll find these vinyl, sorry, not the vinyl disc, but you'll find these laser discs in with vinyl discs, vinyl records. And this one was just in there, and I said, well, that's not an album, that's a Laserdisc movie. And okay, sure. So it was a good buy. Not sure if the seller knew that it was Laserdisc or not, but I thought this was one of the coolest things. This is the Japanese and international versions of Godzilla vs. Mothra, and it's got a lot of cool things happening on the inside there. A lot of publicity stills. Over here it goes into the American release, and a lot of the publicity stills that were part of that, Godzilla vs. the Thing. All, of course, with a lot of Japanese text down there. Very cool to see that. And it's a large format poster of what you would see as the international poster release for this film. So very cool to see it like that. On the interior, you've got this cool little insert centered up here for you. I always like this up here, a little misspelling, the Night King of Mothra versus Godzilla. Another Paramount release here, Godzilla vs. Monsters Zero, in a little larger format so you can see all the edges. There's our Planet X aliens, the Xians, and there they are again, just standing there waiting on someone to take the photograph. Not sure if they can see in those cool looking sunglasses that they have there. But another very cool release from Paramount. And they all have this giant red circle on the back with one publicity still. And if you can see in there, King Ghidorah, or Monster Zero as they call him on Planet X. Okay, one of these Laserdiscs that I found on eBay that I was really wanting for a long time is Godzilla vs. Gigan, or Godzilla on Monster Island, however you remember it. I always liked this box art, this Laserdisc box art here, just because of how large you get to see the monsters. I think it's just really cool laid out. There's King Ghidorah in the background, Godzilla Anguirus, and there's Gigan as close as he can be. One of my favorites from the Showa series, because it was one of my first versus Godzilla movies to see. The first movie I saw was Godzilla 1985, but the next in the VHS market there in the rental store was Godzilla vs. Gigan. Now this is the Japanese version of this film, and you know, probably if you don't, check it out, that this is the film that has speech bubbles when Godzilla and Anguirus are talking to each other. And the speech bubbles are, of course, in Japanese. In America, we got a voiceover with someone who must have had a cold doing the voiceover during that time, because they're talking to each other in real words, but it sounds like someone's scratching the vinyl disc as it's going. But I love this box art. It's really cool to throw in there and watch, especially for the visual effects and the way they edited it in Japan, which is not too different than the way it was edited for the American release. Got a double feature Laserdisc. I actually do like the VHS box art on both of these, so they just took both of the VHS copies there, enlarged them a little, and put them side by side for this double feature of Godzilla vs. Gigan and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Coincidentally, these were the two that were sitting side by side each other in the sci-fi section, and over in the horror section was Godzilla 1985. And so, also coincidentally, New World releases of the films. So there they are side by side, two great films from the 70s Godzilla series, and just always like the VHS box art. Same on the back, they pretty much just copied them over to the Laserdisc here. Paramount release of Terror of Mechagodzilla, larger format like before. The big red circle on the background depicting Godzilla there, and the standoff between Titanosaurus Mechagodzilla and our Godzilla, our last of the Showa series that we have here. And so switching over from the Showa series to the Heisei series, the beginning of it, the Godzilla 1985, it is my first and one of my favorites. I always liked this. This is, of course, the American version with the American dubbing, not international dubbing. And unfortunately for this Laserdisc, it is not in widescreen. The audio is very good, actually, but it is pretty much 4:3 format and pan and scan, just like the VHS was. But it is cool to see it in a larger format like this, seeing Raymond Burr there, being the consultant, the all-knowing guy, American guy for Godzilla. And there's Godzilla coming down the street, about to smash up the place. So I actually used the audio from this Laserdisc to make my own fan edit, my personal fan edit of Godzilla 1985 using the Blu-ray from Japan. Continuing on with our Heisei series, Godzilla vs. Biollante, the HBO video release of this Laserdisc, just like the VHS, just larger format. And a few more publicity stills that you can see in larger format there too. So very cool Laserdisc, glad to have that. Now we've got some Japanese Laserdiscs here, Godzilla vs. Mothra, the Battle for Earth, though it doesn't say the Battle for Earth down here, but you know what the film is. Another great favorite from the Heisei series there. Got some cool publicity stills. I always found it interesting that occasionally you get some English written in there, like the words Toho Laserdisc, digital audio down here, but the rest is pretty much in Japanese, so it's Japanese-lish. And the last Laserdisc I have to present here, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. I think this box art, this cover art here, actually makes the movie look a lot better than it is. Didn't mean I didn't enjoy the film, and check out my Space Godzilla review on the Monster Report sometime. It's very entertaining. Got some publicity stills there. There's Mogira There's our team, and inside Mogira, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, they're duking it out. Energy blasts, all kinds of things going on here, and it's cool to see them all chaptered out. And this is very late in the Laserdisc era because by the time DVD came out, these Laserdiscs were pretty much over with, and they switched everything over because these were much more expensive to make, and DVD is a lot better picture quality, of course, and DVD just has a lot more options. Alright, that's all we have for this episode of the Monster Report, an updated Laserdisc episode. Check out all my other episodes on the Monster Report here, all my different solo reviews and some of the interviews that I have, and some other unboxing collections. There's plenty more to come in the Monster Report, so stay tuned for that. But here we are with some Laserdisc movies. Leave a comment in the section below. Tell me what you thought of some of these, and maybe even share some pictures on the Facebook page of the collections that you have. So this has been Nick Adam Poling for the Monster Report. We'll catch you next time.